Hello! Welcome to another episode of Mr. Simonson's Art Emporium. Today we are going to be working with colored pencil, we are going to be working with bugs, and a picnic blanket drawing. We are going to be focusing on things like details of the bugs, patterns, and color use. Okay? We're going to be looking at how we can combine all of those things together to create an interesting composition for our drawing. Alright, with the colors, we are going to be focusing on warm colors, red, orange, yellow, and cool colors, green, blue, purple. And how we can use those two groups in different ways to create a really cool, awesome drawing. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to decide on what we're going to do for our background of our drawing, which will be the picnic blanket. Okay? You can look online for different patterns. You could look at different picnic blankets and see which one you might like. You could create your own pattern for your picnic blanket. You could look at a picnic blanket, maybe you draw picnic blankets and you've got a pattern already. All great options. Or if you're having a hard time and you can't think of anything that you want to use and you want to get right to work and you're not too worried about the pattern, you can go to Google Classroom, and under the Bugs Picnic Blanket Drawing, there will be a tab where you can click on and find resource, and I'll show you some different examples of patterns, and then you can pick one and go for it. Or you could just do the same one that I'm doing now. What I'm going to do is one that kind of feels like a stair step, okay? So it will just be kind of like stairs moving up and across the page, okay? Now I put one there. Now what I'm going to do is just put one more in the corner. All right, now what I'm going to do is just work from the top left to the bottom right, from here down to here. So you can see I already got one. I'm going to try to keep this space the same across. I'm not too worried about it. Just kind of freely going across. I don't think I want my space to be too big, so I'm going to keep these kind of narrow. That means I'm going to have more, but it also means that when I go to color, the spaces I color won't be as big. You could make your spaces bigger. You could make your spaces smaller. Really up to you on how you want to approach this. Either way is fine. It's really about what you want to do for your artwork, how you want it to look. No wrong answer, just tons of fun. Alright, now we've got it pretty close. Make sure all my patterns end properly. Alright, perfect. So we've got what we want. Now, what we want to do is we want to break down our drawing, our pattern for our blanket, down into smaller shapes, because I don't want to just color this one solid color and then one solid blank space. I want to fill it in a little bit and also create some interesting pattern, something interesting to look at for the viewer. If you want to color it solid, that's totally fine, but we're going to wait on coloring it for now. So I need to break it down. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a couple of lines, making some more interesting shapes. Maybe some smaller ones, maybe some bigger ones, maybe some repeating ones. Really up to you. Maybe some completely new ones. All your choice. I'm trying not to think about it too much for mine, but you just go with what you feel is best. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes just mean that you're learning something new and you're trying hard. Alright, so we've got quite a few really cool shapes going on. Alright, so our next phase is we need to add in some bugs. This will be where our details come in. Alright, now again, if you're great at drawing bugs, just go for it, right? If you want to look some bugs up online, that's a good option too. Maybe you have books about bugs, you could use those. Or maybe if you just want to draw some bugs and you don't want to look at anything, all those are good options too. Or you can go on to Google Classroom and there will be a link under the Bugs Picnic Blanket Drawing. you can find a resource that'll show you some more simplified versions of bugs, be a little bit easier to draw. And that's what I'll be referencing for this, just to make things a little bit easier for everyone. Alright, so first bug choice for me, we're drawing a picnic scene. It's gotta be ants, right? So I'm gonna put an ant right about there, kind of investigating. He's kind of not sure he wants to be on the blanket, but he definitely wants to see if there's some food. So really, an ant, if we break it down, is just kind of a grape shape, a little bit of a body, 2 circles, and then kind of like a squished heart without the little indent in the front. We put some eyes on there, some nice squished grapes, mandibles, his antennas, kind of zooming out off the side, and then we just put some legs. And you really can't go wrong with the legs. Bug could be standing in any pose and their legs could be all over the place. So, alright, so we have one ant. Let's have him following a friend. So we're going to put another friend right on top over here. Now we've got that squish grape, little body in between. 2 circles, neck, head, kind of heart shape without the indent in the middle. Okay, little mandibles, antennas, leg, 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 leg. Perfect. All right, now let's put maybe one more friend. He's investigating a little bit further. And he's way on over here, so let's put that guy in. If you have one ant, you probably have another, so definitely have to have a couple of ants in. Alright, so we have some ants. Now, next, let's put a little fly in. I'm going to put the fly in down over here. So just a little bit of a shape, kind of a long oval shape, right? And then the body, a little bit of a shape, and then some wings, kind of point out. See a little bit of his body, and some legs. Okay, so we've got a fly down in the corner. Let's put a centipede kind of over here. Centipedes are pretty easy. They're just a bunch of circles stacked upon each other. This centipede's doing something a little weird. He's kind of dancing. Got a nice S shape. Okay, and what we'll do is just put a little one at the end, and then at the front, we just have kind of a slightly smaller circle for his head. Okay, he's got some eyes in there. We'll maybe color those in. Right, I'm not going to do his legs. He's got a lot of them, and we'll just do those with the colored pencils when we get there. All right, so we've got, let's see, we've got 5 animals, 5 bugs. Let's go with one more. I'm thinking a big moth, maybe kind of right over in here. All right, so big moth. We've got kind of a big wing shape. Okay, this is kind of a lot like a heart. Okay, we can throw a circle in there somewhere. We'll color those in, right? And then we kind of have similar to the fly shape, but also kind of like the ant shaped head. I'm going to put some big eyes on there, kind of pointed it a little bit. Then we put his antennas going out the front. A little bit of a bump in there on there, kind of like eyelashes, right? And we've got some legs. And then these ones kind of fold back. Perfect. I think that looks pretty good. I think what I want to do is just way over here, just put a little ant peeking in. He's not sure if he wants to get on the blanket. Not as brave as his friends. Alright, so we've got a drawing. Now, the next step will be color. We need to decide. We're using 2 groups, warm colors and the cool colors. Now, if we choose warm for one thing, bugs or the blanket, we have to pick the other for whatever we chose for before. Color. Now, we have two color groups we're using, warm and cool. So if I pick warm colors for bugs, that means I have to use the cool colors for the blanket. And if I pick the cool colors for the blanket, it means I have to pick the warm for the bugs. So for me, I like the bugs the best. So I'm going to pick my bug color first. So with how they go, I think I would really like to see the bugs in cool colors. So I need to start with the warm colors and draw color in blanket. So I'm just going to start over here in the corner and color in these shapes. Now, it's always a good idea to have a spare piece of paper underneath. Colored pencils aren't too messy, but it is nice to have something underneath and know that you're not going to mark up anything below it, like a nice table. Mine, not so much. It's a work table, but still, good practice to have. Practice good habits. All right, so we've got a yellow there. I have kind of the same shape. I'm just going to go ahead and color this yellow as well. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I have to skip one of the sections and then go to the next one. Because remember, this one's going to be blank. This section with the fly in it is going to be blank. So I'm coloring in this section here, and I'm going to color this one yellow. So it's really up to you and how you color them. Maybe you want to create a pattern. Maybe you just want it to be random. It's all your choice. No wrong answers. Really up to you and how you color it and how you get that filled in. Just got to make sure it's filled in. That's all. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of shoot for a little bit of a pattern. I don't have patterns in my shapes, but I'm just going to kind of shoot for a colored pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one yellow as well. So I'm going to try to think about how I can move that yellow across. You have to do a little bit of planning. Depending on how many colors you have a lot of warm colors, then just go for it. And just color in a lot of different things. I'm only using 4 warm colors. So I have to kind of think and plan ahead where things might go. Talking about warm colors, yellow, orange, red, there are many colors that kind of fit both, right? Like yellow, green, and red, violet. Those are kind of in between colors. If you have a bigger set of colored pencils that you are using, those colors would fall in between. And that would really be up to you on where you want them at. Do you want to include them in on the blanket or the bugs for the warm? Or do you want to include them in on the other for the cool? Your choice. Or maybe both. So I want to make sure I color around the bugs. I'm not coloring on the bugs, coloring around them. Alright, now you can see I've got yellow, 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 kind of back and forth. So now I'm going to color some yellows in more towards this section. Alright, now I'm going to kind of flip and go yellow in the gaps. So I want a yellow here. Could put a yellow right here or here. Good choice, right there. Alright, we've got 3. Now let's only go 2, and then those gaps again. Put one right here. Alright, so that's all settled. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move to orange. I guess we'll put orange right here. Kind of developing a little bit of a pattern. We got 2, and then we go 2, and 1, and 1. So if we color these in, let's just see how the orange works on this one. Alright, so we've got 3, 3. Let's try to fill in those gaps. So let's put an orange here. Carefully around the ant. Alright. Looking pretty cool. Let's go ahead and move to the reds. Alright, so let's put in a red right there. Alright, so we've got 2 in this line. Let's hop all the way over. We'll go 2 in this line. Staying out of the bugs, just around them. Let's go another one on the edge. Alright, now dark red. Alright, so that one's colored. All we need to do is one right here. Alright, now we're moving to the middle. Our dark red. Great. So we are all finished coloring in the pattern of the blanket. So now we get to color in our bugs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the moth. It is the biggest, and I think it should be kind of a fun color. So what I'm going to do, what you can do is, like with a shape this big, an insect bug this big, you will probably see the pattern come through. Now, you could erase it, take an eraser and erase that all out, or you could use it to make an even better pattern color on the moth. And this lined up really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color that in. I'm going to use the wings and that pattern underneath to kind of help draw that in. Should we flip the colors? I think so. Per wing. Really, this is about experimenting, trying different things, really just playing with the colors, seeing what happens. Alright, we've got a nice light blue. Let's go dark green with that. Those two will really stand out. Okay, dark green in those circles. Alright, now I think I'm going to go a really bright green for his little body parts, legs, antennae, although I'm going to leave those little feathery parts blank. And let's go with purple for his eyes and those little feathery bits. Alright, looking pretty cool. Let's go ahead and color in the centipede. So let's go with light green. Alright, so I'm just going to color his whole thing in, each circle, light green. Alright, and let's go with dark blue for his legs. So we're going to just put a leg at every joint and circle. Perfect. Let's just add in one little detail. Put some purple dots. By using cool colors and warm colors, we really allow those colors to work together in a really unique way by helping each other stand out more. So because we have that warm background, the cool colors of our insects are going to really stand out. So let's just go with a purple fly. I'd like to see that. Purple, since we've got them in our hand already. We've got a purple body. We'll give them purple legs. And then let's give him, let's stick with the light green. So we are now on the ants. What I want to do with them, set up my pencils in kind of a pattern fashion where I've got blue, green, blue, purple, green, blue. So I'm going to start with an ant. Now I'm going to try to do all of these differently. So I'm going to go blue on the back. Okay, and then we'll go a little blue on the body. Go towards the back. Go to green. That's a pretty cool looking ant. Let's keep going. So now we moved it to the back. Now we're on here. Since we have lines on this one, let's color the lines in on that. Try to be as many details as we can. Alright, now we're on to the next ant. Now let's try something a little bit different. Let's go jump all the way over. This little hidden guy coming in. Alright, now we have a pretty nice looking drawing. Lots of stuff going on. So what we can do now is we can add in a little bit more detail to enhance the forms of our insects. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take blue, purple, and the dark green, okay? And then have the light green and the light blue set aside for now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a darker color and we're going to go kind of along the edges of any lighter color and the greens, kind of adding in a little bit more depth. Kind of like around the edges, kind of makes it feel like it's got shadow on it. You don't have to do this, but it certainly would. You don't have to do this, but it would certainly add a little bit to your drawing. Having some pretty good luck just kind of going over all of it with blue. Just a little bit of shadow on there kind of helps. I think you're going to need dark green for this light one. It's not much, but it really does help kind of enhance your drawing a bit. Alright, so now that light blue or light green that we set aside could then be used for an even extra detail, just really lightly drawing underneath these lines. We'll kind of add in a shadow effect on the picnic blanket. I'm just kind of drawing it right underneath. That one's going to be pretty low to the ground, so we're not going to see much there. Not very dark, just kind of real light, adding in those extra lines as if there's a shadow playing on there. Alright, and we are finished. So, really have fun with it, explore the color uses, try to push it with the cool to warm. If you want to mix and match, add more colors in, that's totally fine. Just play around with where you put the colors, maybe think about the patterning of the background of the blanket, and think about how you can play with those colors on the insects, because there's lots of possibilities on there too. Alright, so thanks for watching, really appreciate it, can't wait to see your work, see you next time.